Alright, I'm just going to complete the look of this page because one of the things that we do a lot of is duplicating pages to save us a lot of time. So for example, if I decide that the background canvas look of this page should be a light grey, I'm just going to click on an empty portion of this page called Net and Freight. I'm going to go to the Format Your Report page button and just change the canvas background from being white, which is quite hard on the eyes, to being a light grey. Now I'm also going to change the transparency to about 50%. So I'll just take that down to 50. So that's pretty much how I want most of my pages to look in terms of the report page look. Now I want to duplicate this page, so I'm going to right click Net and Freight and duplicate the page. And then I'm just going to double click and call it Net and Freight Cumulative. And it means that a lot of the things that were in the Net and Freight page have been brought across, and I don't have to make the background grey, add a text box for the title, format the text box to font size 18. I can just work with almost like a template. So I'm now going to call this text box Net and Freight Cumulative. So I want a cumulative perspective of my net and freight details. Let me just resize this, as well as just the actual figures. So net and freight was the actual figures just being totaled or summed by each month and year. Whereas the net and freight cumulative, I actually want to see almost a running total where it starts actually adding to the previous month and accumulating. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use a measure. In the last video we created a calculated column. Now I actually want to use a measure because that's going to be more of a cumulative type formula. The best thing we can do here, and let's just save what we've done so far with this Power BI file. Best thing we can do here is to right click the order details table, and from there you can create, what I want to do is a quick measure, a new quick measure. So I'm going to go there because what it does is it gives you this sort of like calculations quick measure pane. And I select a calculation in here, and there's a real collection in here of really useful stuff that we'll have a look at. But one of the things I want to go for is the running total. I want a running total, and it says what's your base value, and even if I rest on it, it says what value whose running total you want, the value whose running total you want. Well, I want it for net, so I'm actually going to drag net into the base value. And then we've got a field here, the running total in which to calculate the running total and repeats each time. That would be the date that you wanted it to run for. So I'm going to go for month and year, and I'll just drag that into that field. And I'm going to settle for ascending order. So I want a running total of the net value based on month and year. So I'll just click add. And once the add is complete, here you can see your measure, which has a different icon again. And when I'm sitting on that measure in my data pane, I actually see the DAX calculation that calculates the net running total in month and year. Uses the calculate function, it sums this net column, but it also filters it and does it by month and year and start of month. And so that just saves me having to type all of that DAX formula by using a quick measure. All right, to close that pane here, I'm just going to hit the X, that closes the quick measure pane. To get rid of this from sight, I'll just click on quantity, which gets rid of that. Now I want to actually change my table so that it shows the cumulative net and not the net. So I might actually rename this so it's not so long. If I click on this, I could actually then just drag it and drop it into my table. Let me just go here. So there's my table showing freight, etc. I'm going to grab net and drop it into here. I'm then going to hit this X to get rid of that net. I'm then going to double click this and call it cumulative net. You can't see me typing, but it is actually typing cumulative net, and press enter. So I've got rid of net from my table. Let me just stretch my table out given the change. I've got rid of net and replace it with cumulative net, and you can see that it's actually accumulating with the course of time. Now I want to do the same for freight. So we've got freight here. I'm going to right click fact orders. I'm going to create a new quick measure that brings up the quick measure pane. I'm going to choose the type of calculation, which is running total, which is in my totals group, running total. I want the running total of the net base value, and I want to run it based on month and year. So I put that into there. Happy with ascending, and then add. That will eventually, if I scroll down, create the freight running total in month year. I'll close the quick measure pane. I'll get rid of the freight from the table, and I'll add this measure to my table, and then I'll double click it and call it cumulative freight. Enter. And I'll click away from that measure so I can see it here. I can stretch my table just to see things more clearly. And I may have to bring my chart in as a consequence. Click on the chart, grab the placeholder and just bring it in a little bit, and I can bring it down a little bit as well. So now we've got net and freight cumulative table. We need to update our chart. So I'm going to click on the chart. Here I can see net and freight, but it's that field and that field. So I'm going to get rid of net and replace it with net running total in month. And I'll double click it and I'll just call it cumulative net. Get rid of freight, add running total and call it cumulative freight. All right, so now we have a cumulative chart. I need to change the cumulative freight back to being a yellow line. So I'll format the visual, I'll go for lines, I'll go for color and change cumulative freight to that yellow that I had earlier. So it's consistent with other, the earlier charts. And that is basically creating our quick measure, which is a running total, giving us a cumulative value. And we've simply added those to our table and to our line chart. I want to save my Power BI file. Come back for the next video. I want to do a year-to-date net and a year-to-date freight, year-to-date line chart and a year-to-date table. So be back soon. All right, so let's make a year-to-date table and line chart with this line chart having secondary axis. First of all, I would definitely duplicate one of these pages. It doesn't really matter which one. Maybe I go back to net and freight. I'm going to right click and duplicate this page to save me a lot of time. I'm then going to double click and call it net and freight YTD and edit the text box year to date. So I want to show year-to-date figures now. And I'm going to use a quick measure to work out the year-to-date figure for net and the year-to-date figure for freight. Now this particular company, and you would adjust it for your company, this particular organisation, their financial year begins 1st of April, so bear that in mind. So first thing I'm going to do is right-click the fact order details and say I want to create a new quick measure. I'm going to select the calculation here in the time intelligence. We've got year to date, quarter to date, month to date, things like that. So I'm going to go year to date. My base value is my net, so I drag that as my base value, and my date field and drop that into there. Okay, and let's go add. So now when I go down to my query, here is my year to date, my net year to date. And so if I then close the quick measure pane, went to my table and clicked it, decided I didn't want to see net, so I get rid of it, and instead I want to see my net year to date, add it. That's what I'm seeing here. Now when I look at this, I'm saying 30, 56, it is accumulating. But it's not accumulating as of the 1st of April. I noticed that in January 2020, it resets the year-to-date figure. So we need to say that this particular company's financial year ends on the 31st of the 3rd and starts on the 1st of April. So let's go to net year-to-date where we see the DAX formula that's calculating the total year-to-date. Let's click on the end here, but inside the close bracket, put a comma and in double quotes specify, and it even says here that we do a filter. So I'm going to specify the 31st of the 3rd double quote. I press enter. I now see a different result. Look at the table. 30, 56, 84 starts increasing. Then on the 1st of April 2020 starts from 36 again, starts increasing again. Then the next April drops from 755 to 109. So we are governing when the year to date ends and starts. Okay, let's do another one. So now I want to go to my fact orders, right click, create a new quick measure. Change the calculation or select the calculation year to date total. Give me the year to date for freight, that's my base value. But I need to say for what particular date. So I'll choose my date field from my date table. I'll click add, which creates that year to date value, and I'll close the quick measure pane. As I scroll down, I can see my freight year to date. I'll click on my table, delete the freight, and add the freight year to date instead. And so then I click on the freight year to date, I edit the DAX formula, just inside the closed bracket, put a comma, double quote, the year ends on the 31st of the 3rd, double quote, enter. And so it will restart calculating the freight as of April. And you can see that there. Okay. Now I need to update my chart. Let me just stretch this down a little bit. And let me just stretch the chart a little bit as well. Okay, so I click on my chart. I can see net here and freight here. I'm going to get rid of net and instead use net year to date as my y-axis. And I'm going to get rid of freight and use freight year to date as my secondary y-axis. I'll go into format the visual. I'll go into lines and color and make my freight yellow. And there we have a year-to-date chart and a year-to-date table using a quick measure, a cumulative using the running total quick measure, and then just straight sum using normal calculated columns and fields. All right, join me for my next video where we'll look at year-on-year comparisons. Now practice what you've learnt, absorb what we've covered, and I'll see you in the next video.